Welcome. This is the Drupal usability meeting for July 4th, 2025. I'm Benji Fisher, sharing my screen and moderating, and the only other person present is Ralph Kohler. So we're going to have a look at two related issues. The first one is 3528251. Layout Builder discard changes, confirmation form is destructive, and does not communicate consequences to the user. The second one is 3528494. The Layout Builder reverts to defaults confirmation form and similar forms do not nearly explain how destructive the operation is. So I have here an installation of Umami. I have not applied any merge requests patches. This is just Drupal core, current 11.x. And if I log in, I think that if I just edit most any page, actually, let me first make sure. Ralph, do you remember offhand exactly which content types are configured to use Layout Builder?
No, I don't use Umami at all, therefore.
Okay, so let's check. I think basic page, and I want to look at managed display.
No.
So how about article?
Recipe?
That's the third option. Ha.
Okay, that is unexpected.
Oh, I know. Depends on which display mode you use. Ha, okay, I thought so. Okay. So the full content display mode of pages does use Layout Builder. Okay, so we can edit any page. And let's choose the one in English, not in Spanish, just for my level of comfort. And go to layout. And then, make any change, add block, create a content block, music, test block. Interesting. And add block. All right, so we now have this standard warning. I'm also going to make the admin toolbar go away. Firebox toolbar go away. We have the standard warning, you have unsaved changes. And I can save the layout, I can discard the changes, I can revert to defaults. And it's the behavior of these two buttons that's discussed in the two issues. And there's some discussion on the issues, whether it makes sense to have them combined in one issue. I think it does.
Just one brief question. What is the argument of the people voting against merging the two issues? What is their argument?
Let's see. I think that was discussed here on the second one. And first, in comment 16, XJam suggested combining the two issues, and this comment pushed back. I think it's a question of getting the agreed upon change merged as quickly as possible.
Oh, okay.
So afraid that if the two issues are combined, the change that's been agreed upon will be postponed.
So it's basically one of the two more or less close to RTPC and the other needs discussion in regards of microcopy?
Yeah, it has previously been marked RTBC, but perhaps prematurely, since there's probably room for improvement.
Yeah. Already the "Are you sure you want to revert this default" as a title is one of the things I despise. That's not a title. Same as all the others. Well,
Okay, so let's start there with revert to defaults.
Oh, no, wait. Could you cancel one? First discard the changes and then the revert to defaults is an additional step then. First discard the changes you just made, and in the next step revert to default. We could test both in one row that way.
Okay. So if I click discard changes.
Where's the title?
That's fun. Oh, I see. I'm not seeing something that looks like the screenshots, but that's because I'm testing with Umami, and of course this uses the front end theme. So it's going to look very different. It's funny that you get the breadcrumbs here.
But honestly speaking, in any way, I would recommend to add a note to the comment that basically the merge request needs also some changes for Umami, because this is not good.
Yeah, so at least the text should be the same between the two. This just has the default text, this action cannot be undone, and the confirm and cancel buttons.
Shall I quickly share my Claro site? That way we have a closer experience.
Okay.
pdef share. Oops. pdef start. I send you the link, then you can keep sharing.
User link.
I'm just starting. 1 second. pdef share, and the link goes. Oh, here it is. Admin is available. Oh no, not that problem again.
Yeah, last time we tried this, I wasn't able to log into your site.
Okay. Yeah, let's forget that idea. Shit. Apologies for my vocabulary.
Okay, so I guess the page title is supposed to be, are you sure you want to discard your changes? Why can't I? Oh, I'm trying to click on a screenshot. That's why it's not working. I guess I must need more sleep. And then the message comes out down here. The mommy page title doesn't show up anywhere except in the title. Can you see as I hover over the tab that it shows the
Oh, yeah,
title? Oh, that's a problem with umami.
definitely.
Um,
Or is it perhaps only the title hidden for that content type?
Say again?
Is maybe just the title hidden for that content type on manage display? Or disabled, I mean.
Let's see.
Basic page. And we are in the full content. Or is it then the default? Which display mode is used in case of those confirmation pages?
Well, I'm thinking that these confirmation forms in general should appear in modals, and maybe that's more important than fixing this immediate problem.
Yeah.
Um, and I think we have an issue for that, but I haven't seen it in a long, long time.
Okay.
But do you think that if we add the page title, anyway, can you just describe briefly what you see with Claro? Do you don't see a modal or a separate page, but you see confirmation form load as a full page?
Yeah. And just the are you sure you want to discard your layout changes in a large font, and then the in a small font, the body with this action cannot be undone. Strictly speaking, the title should be discard changes for, and then the layout or node title, and then in the body, the are you sure you want to discard your layout changes? This action cannot be undone, something like that. Or I'm not sure what the suggestion is on the issue about the wording to make it more clear.
I'm going to try something drastic. I am going to change the theme of my Umami site.
It's Olivero then. True.
And now I'm going to reload this page. Let's see what happens. There we go.
Oh. Have you the merge request applied?
What's that?
Have you the merge request applied? Do you have?
I
Cause
still can't make out what you're saying.
have you the merge request applied? Because the middle part I don't see when I try. This layout builder tool allows you to configure the layout of the main content area to manage other.
That must be something added by Umami.
Okay.
This is just Drupal core.
Okay.
Okay, so we have the title. Are you sure you want to discard your layout changes? This action cannot be undone. So let's focus on that text. And so the cancel and delete buttons. So the current state of the merge requests. Well, this looks like a not very helpful change. Any unsaved changes to the layout will be lost. And the proposal in this comment is to keep the title, but then add something to the description. And maybe if I open the screenshot in a separate tab, I can make out any unsaved changes to the layout will be lost. This action cannot be undone. So I certainly think that's an improvement. I think these very, very long titles are a step in the wrong direction. What do you think?
1 second, I just applied the merge request just to see it. Huh? That is odd. Could you scroll up a bit, please? Yeah, stop. And unsafe channel is, yeah, I'm seeing right now after applying the patch. Honestly, the text is redundant. You have twice this action cannot be undone. First, you have it as the second sentence in the title, and then you have it another time in the body. That is not good. And again, I'm not a fan of that kind of titles.
So you're referring to, I guess you just said you applied the merge request. So you're seeing this
I'm
text.
seeing any unsafe. I'm seeing the title. Any unsafe changes to the layout will be lost. Period. This action cannot be undone. Period. And then comes the body in small. This action cannot be undone another time. So this one is redundant, and as I've said, personally, I would say I would put into the title what is actually happening in which context, meaning you're discarding the recent changes for node XYZ, and then in the body, I would say there are any unsafe changes to this layout will be lost, and this action cannot be undone.
Hi. I think in general, any title with a full stop, there's something not quite right with it. I think the title should work without, not as sentences.
Hi, and
Hi, Simo.
I just noticed, Simo, that you've joined us. So Simo Hell has joined the meeting. Do you need any background on what we've been looking at, Simo?
Maybe put a link to the chat to the issue, but I can see it here.
There are two issues. That's the first one. And the second one. And the question also is, as Benji mentioned before, there's the question if those two issues should be merged as one, or if they should be kept separately. One is about discarding changes, the other is about reverting to default.
All right, so I think we all agree that the current state of the merge request is not helpful. Which by the way, sort of defeats the purpose of the argument not to combine the two issues. And let's see the screenshot. So that's keeping the existing title. Are you sure you want to discard your layout changes? And then instead of the default text, this action cannot be undone. It says any unsafe changes to the layout will be lost. And then the default text. So let's use browser tools and do some wordsmithing here. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah.
So I don't think we need the "are you sure." Can I strike that?
Yep.
It's kind of implied in the confirm button.
So just discard your layout changes. Or should it just be discard layout changes?
But the question is, in which context, which layout? For example, if you're discarding in the process of discarding, then you get distracted, a phone call or someone else needs your attention and you return after a while, then you need a primer.
Okay, so I'm inclined to leave in your for now, at least, because it does sort of stress that the changes you've made are the ones that may be discarded. And the further details that you're talking about can be added in the description text. So we no longer have the standard text that we get while we're editing the layout saying that these changes have not been saved. So I think, to your point, Ralph, we should add something like that text here. And where's that text? Here we go. This action cannot be undone. So changes to the layout this page have not been saved. Want
Oh.
I want to discard that, I guess. Use the consistent text. How does that look?
About.
I'm not hearing any opinions.
I'm thinking.
Okay.
I feel a bit I'm not always happy with, do you want to discard them, confirm, because do you want to, it's yes or no.
I'm having a little trouble with the audio. Could you type that into the chat? I'm on a trip and I forgot to pack even headphones, let alone a full headset.
If you want to discard them.
Do you want to is usually yes or no, not confirm. So can we reword it? I think I'd rather not change the standard buttons on a confirmation form. So I'd rather change the text somehow.
Agreed. But also agree to seamless though. Yeah, and the do you want to discard them? Yeah,
So
it's optimal.
So I guess phrasing it as a question is the wrong thing if I want to keep those. So let's say something like this. Discard changes to the layout. This page. And again, I should look at pose text here. Any unsaved changes to the layout will be lost. Maybe I should use something more like that text. And I guess I'm sort of repeating the text that's already in the title. So, so let's use something more like this text. Any unsaved changes? Small layout.
I like the first, at least the first sentence you had before, basically where you've said you have unsaved changes on this page or for this layout. That way the person navigating knows the reasoning for that confirmation and for the discard and why a discard is necessary. But
Right. So I guess the usual principles apply, that we want to explain what the situation is, the possible error situation, or in this case, the consequences of confirming this form. And we want to give them options.
just one note, I would combine those two sentences. You have
Okay.
unsaved changes. And that way, with those two sentences, it's slightly more confusing.
If you want to combine them, I'd like to keep the part that
Oh, okay, yeah.
changes will be lost.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Oh.
And I think there's also a more technical question. How much does get lost in this situation? And I'm not sure whether that was discussed on one of these issues or the other.
Isn't it all the changes since the last time the layout was saved? That is maybe the reason why I consider I thought your two-sentence version is slightly confusing, because the question is which of the changes are lost and which are not. That way.
All right, so here XJM asked, what happens to those inline blocks when you perform this operation? And actually, I'd like to answer that question. I'm going to go back to the umami theme for a second. And I'm going to go ahead and confirm. So I'm going to discard my changes. And then, little known fact, but if you go to the listing of blocks, this is defined by a view. I can edit that view. And by default, that view only shows reusable blocks, does not show the inline blocks created in Layout Builder. But of course, since it's a view, you can change that. And that confirms that the block I added has been lost. Whereas if I were to save that, I think the whole reason for that is that can I already see it? No, I can't see it yet. The whole reason for this is that we're afraid that people who use Layout Builder a lot will have many, many, many individual blocks that are only meant to show on individual pages. There it is. So we don't want the usual block listing to be overwhelmed by all of these blocks that only show up on one page each. And that's why they're not shown by default on the block listing page. So should the message say something about the content blocks that we've added as part of the layout? And if so, what is the interface text to use for that?
Yeah.
Save that block, but I will not save the layout. I'm going to go back to Olivero theme. You have unsaved changes. So we have a little more than 10 minutes left. I think we can already agree that the current merge request is a step in the wrong direction. We can confirm what happens to inline blocks or content blocks created while editing the page. I think we still don't have a great suggestion for exactly what text to use.
I think the only thing I would say recommend in regards of the title is avoid that conversational question and lengthy sentence style that is used currently. It should be a regular page title there, providing what is happening in the context.
Okay, so keep the title short instead of making it a question. Make it declarative. Discard your layout changes, for example.
Yeah, and as I said, I still think the context is necessary in regards of WCAG page titled SC 2.5 2.4.2. Also for screen reader users, if you have, for example, also the case, not only the case if you get distracted, but also the case that you have two tabs open with such confirmation pages. Unlikely, but possible. And that way, always you should ask yourself, is it possible just based on that page, on the title, to know what is happening or what the purpose of a certain page?
Well, I'm going to say that that gets back to the question of showing confirmation forms and modals. I think that's really the most effective way to preserve some context here.
Yeah, but even with the dialog mode, will you still have an H1 there? And then it's again, instead the dialog mode is also just in air quotes a page, because the rest of the page is excluded
I
from
see.
the accessibility object model. So
Any unsaved changes will be lost, including any content blocks. That have been added.
or created.
Are you suggesting that literally that I type or created, or are you suggesting that I replace added with created?
No, no, I think both added or created.
Okay.
Because in both cases, you could add a block, but you could also create a block within Layout Builder, which would also be lost.
I'm not sure I follow you. I think those are two different ways of saying the same thing, or are you actually thinking?
No, I mean you could add existing blocks and those would also be lost, aren't they?
Oh, so I guess I'm going to save this text before we go any further. Yeah, I guess the point I'm trying to make, and maybe I'm not making it very well, is that content blocks that have been created are not saved anywhere. Content blocks, existing blocks that have been added to the layout will no longer be in the layout if we discard the changes. But any custom blocks that I've added will be completely lost. And I think we want to get that
Yeah.
point across. So if I add an existing reusable block, announcements feed, why not? If I discard my changes, then this one will no longer be on this page, but this custom block that I created through Layout Builder will be totally lost. There will be no way to add it.
Okay.
So we're down to just 4 minutes. So maybe we should just, do not try to be brief, try to be descriptive. And say, you use the text, be consistent with the text used here, create content block. So this is a created block, and try to say that created blocks will be totally lost. And that added blocks, or I guess content block perhaps is the phrase that distinguishes this from reusable blocks. Other blocks will not be part of the layout if you discard the changes.
I think the worst case here for usability is, or user experience, is that if something has been created but not saved, and some things have been modified, and then the user expects that the modifications will be lost, but the things that felt like being created, they would stay. So that kind of confusion is the worst. So if there is more that is discarded than the user expected.
Right.
Yeah. Just one example that might lead the user thinking into that, what Simo said is, for example, in media library, there when you add a image that is in the context of the media modify, then on a node, there you could add basically the image is already added to the media library before you add and save an alt text, for example, in the metadata. So you could stop there, quit, but the image is already created, and that impression could be moved over to layer builder with the same expectation, so that block still exists.
Right. And the use cases of the two are different, so there's sort of a reason for that difference, but the user may not be aware of that.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have to end the meeting. Any last words? So I'll try to find some time to post a comment. And these two issues have been declared major. I think we should try to improve them, even if it's only text changes. But as we know, text changes can be really hard.
Yep.
Okay, thank you both.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Last weekend.